Zoroastrianism is considered one of the oldest religions that shaped the concepts of good and evil, as well as reward and punishment in human history. In an era dominated by the multiplicity of gods and pagan rituals, Zarathustra proclaimed a revolutionary message calling for belief in a single god, Ahura Mazda, and presenting a profound philosophical vision regarding the position of the human being within the universe. This religion offered early answers to existential questions that continue to occupy humanity to this day. What is the origin of evil? How will human beings be judged after death? And what role does purity play in achieving balance between the body and the soul? It also developed unusual rituals, ranging from the veneration of fire to leaving the dead upon the tops of mountains, which makes it one of the most mysterious and controversial religions. In this video, we will unveil the details of this ancient belief system, from the mysterious life story of Zarathustra to the spread of his religion within the Persian Empire and reaching the shocking death rituals that puzzled historians. We will also trace how Zoroastrianism influenced later religions and why it declined to become the faith of a minority, after once having been the creed of a great empire. So stay with us until the end, and do not forget to support us by liking the video and subscribing to the channel so that you receive all new content. Zarathustra is considered one of the earliest figures to lay the foundations for monotheistic religious thought in a world dominated by polytheism and pagan rituals. Although the details of his life remain shrouded in mystery, his intellectual and religious impact is undeniable. Accounts differ regarding the precise time of his emergence, with estimates ranging between the 10th and the 6th centuries BCE, in a region believed to stretch between Central Asia and Eastern Iran. These areas were experiencing intense cultural and religious interactions at the time, which helped shape new ideas outside the traditional frameworks. Zarathustra was not merely a priest or a sage. He was a religious reformer who carried a vision of the world that transcended the norms of his era. At a time when people offered bloody sacrifices to warring gods, Zarathustra introduced a revolutionary concept, a single god called Ahura Mazda, who did not desire bloodshed or complex rituals from humans, but rather asked for honesty in speech, purity in action, and uprightness in thought. This vision was not merely an ethical call, it was a comprehensive project for understanding the nature of the world and existence. From these ideas emerged a coherent spiritual and philosophical creed based on the principle of free will and the belief that this cosmic struggle would have an inevitable conclusion in which good would triumph. Souls would be resurrected, and everyone would be judged according to their deeds. In this sense, Zarathustra was not just a prophet within the register of ancient myths. He was a visionary thinker ahead of his time, combining spiritual contemplation, moral commitment, philosophical abstraction, and practical life. In doing so, he established one of the earliest models of monotheism in the religious history of humanity. The Zoroastrian creed forms the core of the vision brought by Zarathustra, offering a comprehensive conception of the world, existence, and the purpose of life. At the heart of this creed stands the principle of dualistic conflict between light and darkness, between Ahura Mazda, the wise and benevolent god, and Angra Mainyu, or Ahriman, the spirit of evil and chaos. Zoroastrianism views the universe not as neutral, but as divided between forces of good, which represent order, truth, and light, and forces of evil, which spread lies, destruction, and darkness. In this worldview, human beings were not created merely to observe. They are active participants in this cosmic struggle. Every action they choose and every word they speak either draws them closer to Ahura Mazda or drives them toward Ahriman's camp. Zoroastrianism teaches that humans possess free will, and their salvation is not achieved through offerings or sacrifices to the gods, but through the holy triad: good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. These principles form the essence of religious life for Zarathustra's followers and serve as the path to internal purity and victory in the spiritual battle every human being faces. The Zoroastrian creed asserts that the cosmic struggle will ultimately reach an end when good finally triumphs. The dead will be resurrected, souls will be separated, and every individual will be judged according to their deeds. This presents a clear eschatological vision, placing earthly life within a broader, timeless context and endowing human existence with profound spiritual significance. Through this creed, Zoroastrianism combined belief in a single God with the existential multiplicity of life's struggles. It offered one of the earliest religious frameworks to integrate monotheism, moral responsibility, resurrection, and divine judgment within a coherent intellectual structure, anticipating concepts that would later appear in the world's major religions. In Zoroastrian belief, death is not considered an immediate end, but rather the beginning of a delicate transitional phase. When a person departs from life, their body is not buried immediately. It is believed that the soul remains suspended near the body for 3 days and 3 nights, during which it exists in a state of anticipation and waiting, unable yet to cross over to the other world. During this stage, the body is regarded as a source of impurity, carrying the energy of death that could contaminate its surroundings. Therefore, the body is neither touched, buried, nor cremated, but handled with the utmost care and entrusted to a special sect known as the Nasa Salar, individuals who dedicate their entire lives to this purpose alone and are not permitted to engage in any other religious or worldly activities. However, these practices do not stem from a veneration of the body itself, but from a deeper fear, the fear of contaminating the 4 sacred elements: fire, water, air, and earth. In the Zoroastrian worldview, these elements represent divine purity and must not be defiled by contact with death, which is considered the strongest manifestation of the spirit of evil, Ahriman. Faced with this complex understanding of death and the body, one of the strangest burial practices in human history emerged: the Dakma, or what is known as the Tower of Silence. These towers are massive stone structures built on mountaintops, designed to be open-air cemeteries. After death, the body is transported to the top of the tower and left exposed to the air, where it is consumed by scavenging birds, especially vultures. Although this ritual may appear harsh or barbaric to some, within Zoroastrian belief it is considered a natural purification rite that achieves 2 objectives simultaneously: disposing of the body without polluting the 4 sacred elements, and purifying the soul by returning the body to the embrace of nature. Typically, the Towers of Silence are divided into 3 concentric circles, one designated for men, another for women, and a third for children. The remaining bones, once cleaned by the birds, are later collected and placed in a central stone pit, known as the Ostodan. This ritual persisted for many centuries, particularly in regions of Iran and India, and some Towers of Silence still stand today, although their use has ceased in the modern era due to environmental and health regulations. After the completion of the 3 days during which the soul remains near the body, it enters the decisive stage, the moment of judgment. At this critical moment, the soul begins its journey to the other world, a journey filled with awe and apprehension, during which it must cross a legendary bridge known as the Chinvat. This bridge is narrow and sharp as a blade, separating the world of the living from the realm of the dead. If the soul is pure, truthful, and inclined toward goodness, the bridge widens for it, allowing it to pass lightly and peacefully, opening the gates to the heaven of light, a realm of serenity and immortality where righteous souls find eternal rest. Conversely, if the soul is burdened with evil, immersed in lies, deception, and injustice, it finds no footing on the bridge, slips, and falls into the lower world of torment and isolation, where eternal darkness reigns, and its companions are the condemned spirits. Between these extremes exists a third category: souls whose good and bad deeds are balanced, with neither side outweighing the other toward light or darkness. These souls are confined to a gray realm, an intermediate state between bliss and torment, known as the Zoroastrian Barzakh, where they endure a long wait until the end of time, when final judgment is re-established on the last day. In this Zoroastrian vision, the fate of the soul is not left to chance or randomness. It passes through a precise tribunal that determines its ultimate destiny based on the actions it sowed and the intentions it held during its earthly life. In the end, death is not so much an end, as it is a revelation of essence and a passage toward the destiny the individual has truly earned. At the core of Zoroastrian belief, the existence of good alone is insufficient to explain the world. Its opposite must appear to give it meaning. Here emerges Ahura Mazda, later known as Ahriman, the dark entity embodying evil in its purest form. He is the complete opposite of Ahura Mazda, not only in existence, but also conceptually. While Ahura Mazda embodies light, order, and creation, Ahura Mazda represents darkness, chaos, and corruption. Everything that causes human suffering and corrupts life, from disease and lies to death, wars, and drought, is attributed to his dark seed. However, this struggle between light and darkness is not left open to chaos or randomness. It is governed by a clear Zoroastrian vision, culminating in a decisive end. Zoroastrianism does not see evil as an invincible eternal force. Rather, it is a transient stage in a cosmic process with a beginning and an end. At the end of time, according to the creed, the Saoshyant, the awaited savior, and the last descendant of Zarathustra, will arrive to lead the climactic battle known as the final renovation. At this decisive moment, the forces of light confront the forces of darkness face to face, and Ahura Mazda is defeated forever. Once the battle is resolved, souls are resurrected, and everyone is judged. Even the sinners are given a final opportunity for purification. Afterward begins a new cycle of existence, pure and free from evil and death. In Zarathustra's philosophy, life is not measured solely by great events, but also by the small daily details, which are considered a true battlefield against evil. In this creed, evil is not an adversary that appears in direct combat. Rather, it infiltrates life through ordinary habits and everyday actions that may seem trivial. Therefore, every righteous deed, no matter how simple or unnoticed, is a step toward the light and draws its doer closer to Ahura Mazda. Planting a seed, being sincere in one's work, and speaking the truth are not merely routines of daily life. They are genuine expressions of the Zoroastrian principle that every good act is like a strike against evil. In this way, righteous action, regardless of its scale or type, becomes a weapon in the eternal war against Ahura Mazda and all those who seek to spread darkness in the universe. Even the simplest aspects of daily life carry religious significance. For example, clothing holds profound symbolic meaning. Zoroastrian priests wear a simple white garment representing purity and also wear a sacred belt wound 3 times around the waist, symbolizing Zarathustra's core principles: good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. This triad is not merely a moral guideline. It encapsulates Zoroastrian philosophy, reflecting a deep understanding of the meaning of life and defining humanity's place in the cosmos. Zoroastrianism is not just a theoretical philosophy. It is a complete religion based on precise rituals designed to strengthen the connection between humans and Ahura Mazda. Among these rituals, the fire ceremony holds profound significance, as fire is regarded as a symbol of purity and light. In every Zoroastrian temple, a fire is kept perpetually burning as a symbol of Ahura Mazda's eternal presence. It is believed that fire serves as a medium to bring divine light into the human world. In addition, prayer rituals are conducted, during which clergy recite sacred texts from the Avesta, the Zoroastrian holy book. Prayer is not merely the repetition of words, it is a call to glorify Ahura Mazda and sanctify his creation. It is also a means to purify the soul and spirit. Moreover, Zoroastrianism includes a series of festivals and calendars aligned with the seasons, celebrating agricultural cycles such as planting and harvesting, with sacred labor considered part of fulfilling one's covenant with the Creator. Important rituals also relate to marriage and birth, celebrated as opportunities to renew spiritual and personal life. Maintaining physical and spiritual purity during these occasions is considered an essential duty to ensure continuous communion with the spiritual realm. In the modern era, Zoroastrianism remains one of the minority religions that has preserved its existence, despite the major challenges it has faced throughout history. Today, there are still some Zoroastrian communities in Iran, even amidst the country's religious and political changes. Zoroastrianism is considered one of Iran's traditional religions, although the number of its followers has declined significantly. In addition to the Zoroastrian communities in Iran, there is also a significant population of Zoroastrians in India, where they have established a strong and dynamic community, particularly in major cities such as Mumbai. Despite the reduction in their numbers, their cultural and religious influence remains evident in many other religions, including Judaism and Christianity, where certain concepts of good and evil, the afterlife, and divine judgment have been influenced by Zoroastrian ideas. While Zoroastrianism continues to exist as a minority religion in certain regions, it still exerts an influence on religious and philosophical thought worldwide, particularly through its interactions with other faiths and its impact on concepts such as spiritual purity and monotheism. In conclusion, Zoroastrianism remains one of the oldest religions to have left a profound impact on the history of religions and cultures. It served as a starting point for a deeper understanding of human existence and raised fundamental questions about the struggle between the forces of good and evil. It also laid the foundation for many religious and philosophical ideas that emerged in later eras. And with that, we reach the end of today's video. Do not miss the opportunity to follow all new content by subscribing to the channel and activating the notification bell to receive all updates.